Hey YouTube, my name is Sucheta and you're watching the Resplendent Home, and today I'm going to do a quick project of adding a trim where the walls meet the ceilings. So my inspiration came from this beautifully designed hallway by Miles Red, and you can see that he has used the same wallpaper on the walls and the ceilings to kind of blend the two different planes, but then the trim was added to separate them. It's almost like a little contradiction, but whatever that is, it is so beautiful and stunning that I had to have that in my space. So these two were my top contenders. This is more of a chartreuse color, and the other one is more pink. Actually, it's much pinker than my drapes, but I chose that one because it's much darker and you can see the chartreuse kind of gets lost up there. Should be a simple project. I plan to use just double stick tape. I have had great success with double stick tape, so I just kind of use that. I just don't want a big mess on my grass cloth in case if I put too much glue and the glue oozing out. Don't want to risk that. So these are kind of the supplies you're going to need for this project. So you need a cording, you need a double stick sewing tape. This came highly recommended from my workroom, so I'm a big fan of it. You need some sort of a regular tape, like a blue tape or green tape. In my case, this is what I had, in order to hold your tape in place when you're moving around your ladder. And then you need a scissor to cut your double stick tape. You're not going to make a bunch of cuts in your cording, but if you do, whenever you have to make cuts, when you cut it with a scissor, you're going to get this mess because there are not many scissors out there that are going to be able to cut through this thick of a cording. So this makes a giant mess and this becomes pretty much useless. So that's like an inch of trim just completely wasted. But if you want a nice clean cut that does not create a huge mess, then you need a nice sharp razor blade for that job. Before I forget, I should tell you, you need tweezers. So this double stick tape, it's hard to peel off this corner, especially when it's up there, you're on a ladder, you can't really see the best. The tweezers come super handy. It's so easy to grab the corner of that paper and peel it. You just need it to grab the corner. I mean, then it gets easier. But yes, tweezers, absolute must-have tool for this project. So I chose this upholstery cording, which meant that there was an additional step involved in getting rid of the ribbon that normally gets sandwiched between two pieces of fabric. I'm just going to use a razor blade to separate the ribbon from the cord. You want to make sure that you go slow, otherwise you're going to end up damaging the cord. Then the threads are going to unravel. So I'm going to show you extra fast footage of me cutting it while I'm telling you to go slow. So my cording is all done. This is what I have. So my goal is to start in that corner right there, go all the way around, go to the peak, come down around the bar. Then I will come around to the opposite side of the vault. I need to cover the middle where the panels meet. I have some gaps and I'm quite aware that I have gaps that I need to cover up. And then I'm going to treat this soffit like its own thing. And then I'm going to wrap the cord around and bring it up to that corner. All right, so here we go. So what I'm doing is I'm putting small sections of the double stick tape and I cut the double stick tape. I do not cut the cord. I don't want multiple random cuts in my cord because no matter how clean my cuts are, there's that little bit of unraveling that happens at the cut and I want as little of it as possible. So only the double stick tape gets cut, not the cord. I'm going to show you up close what's happening up there. So I'm putting double stick tape in the corner at an angle. So just like that. Of course, double stick tape is not going to go all the way in quite yet. This is where those tweezers are going to come really handy to grab that little corner. It's hard to do that with your nails, especially if you're overdue for a manicure. Then I go in with the cording and I push it really hard into the corner so that it sticks to the wall. Then the cording sticks to the double stick tape and now you have a solid bond. I have no authority to give you ladder safety tips, but I'll tell you one thing. When I'm on such a tall surface, I'm scared. I'm not a big fan of heights. So what I try to do is I make sure that I'm working in front of me and maybe 1 foot ahead of me, but never work backwards or behind where you're risking bending over backwards and falling off the ladder, if that makes any sense, because that would be a really scary fall. So of course I ran out of cording right there. So I had to order more cording, wait for it to show up for about a week, and then I could finish my project. I ran out of cording right there. Then I ended that run right there. And then I started a new one. And then I'm going to go around the whole soffit. And my end point is going to be that corner right there. So what you're witnessing here is a 50-year-old woman, that's me, on top of a credenza, and a 20-year-old daughter just hanging out and helping when I asked, but no more than that. You would think we would swap places, but that's a hard no. In this corner, I'm going to bring up the cord to the vault. So I have a giant closed loop that goes all the way around the room, and I don't have any open-ended edges. All right, last step, finally. Whew, my least favorite part of the project because it's so up high and I had to be there for so long, but it had to be done, so I got it done. Okay, so my project is done. I am finished with adding a trim to the room and it looks stunning. And as you remember, I chose the darker color cording for the space, and now you will see exactly why. I feel like what this trim does to the room is what eyebrows do to a face. Like when you do your makeup, and if you forget to do brow gel or brow pencil, your face just looks incomplete. And then you go, duh, I forgot to do my brows. Little bit of brow pencil or brow gel just completes the face. Does that make sense? I feel like the trim does exactly that. And that is why I chose the darker color, even though it wasn't a perfect match. And you don't have the option of doing crown molding when you have vaulted ceilings. And in this case, I have 3 different ceiling heights in one space. So a cording that adds dimension just makes so much sense. And like I said, it just completes the look of the space. So what do you guys think? Does it look good? Does it make a difference? Let me know in the comments. And also, if you have any questions, leave me a comment. I'll be happy to answer. See you next time.